News from around the globe. Hot, fresh, balanced and objective.
Hello and welcome to Unity News Hour on Unity TV. The headlines. PDP threatens sanctions on G5 governors, meet Tinubu in UK. Old Naira notes, Senate seeks extension of CBN deadline to June 30th, 2023. National Assembly passes 21.8 trillion Naira 2023 budget. And on the foreign scene, Ukraine fighting is deadlocked, spy chief Krelklo Bonadov tells BBC. And in sports, Haaland's record-breaking double on Leeds return narrows the gap to Arsenal. And those were the headlines, and for details and more of the stories, I am Rukayat Sani Ibrahim. The 5 aggrieved People's Democratic Party governors have met with the All Progressives Congress presidential candidate Bola Tinubu in London, the United Kingdom. The APC standard bearer was said to have lobbied for the endorsement of the 5 governors during the marathon meeting, which was held on Tuesday. Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers, Seyi Makinde of Oyo, Okeze Ikpeaz of Abia, Samuel Autumn of Benue, and Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi of Enugu State, and some political heavyweights from the south had vowed not to support the PDP presidential candidate Alhaji Atiku Abubakar over the refusal of the party's national chairman Iyorchia Ayu to resign after Atiku obtained the presidential ticket of the party. The main opposition party, however, threatened to punish the governors for any anti-party activities, stressing that it had the capacity to discipline the recalcitrant governors. Shedding light on the London meeting, a source said Tinubu met with the aggrieved governors yesterday, Tuesday, along with a delegation that included Kayode Fayemi, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, one other governor and an ex-governor, according to the source. For now, they are only waiting for the G5 governors to make the official pronouncement in January, but commenting on governors' reported alliance with Tinubu, a member of the PDP National Working Committee, Tinubu Osadalo, said the party was what it takes to impose the necessary sanctions on the governors should they make real their threat of dumping the party's presidential candidate. Osadalo, who is the deputy national youth leader of the party, dared the governors to endorse their preferred candidate so the party could take appropriate steps against them. The newly appointed Director General of the Presidential Campaign Council of the Labour Party, Akin Osontokun, has disclosed that former President Olusegun Obasanjo is fully in support of the 2023 campaign for the LP presidential candidate. Peter Obi Ositokun, who made a live appearance on Channels Television's Politics Today, was asked if Obasanjo is fully backing Obi's campaign, to which he responded with an emphatic yes. This comes barely 24 hours after the LP announced the former presidential aide as its new presidential campaign DJ, following the resignation of Doyin Okupe when a federal high court in Abuja on December 19 found guilty of violating the Money Laundering Act. Osuntakun also addressed the alleged conflict of interest resulting from his name appearing on the website of the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) as the Zenith Labour Party ZLP Central candidate for Ekiti Central in the 2023 elections. The National Assembly has passed the 2023 appropriation bill at 21.83 trillion naira. This shows an increase of 1.32 trillion naira from the 20.51 trillion naira budget proposal of President Muhammadu Buhari. A breakdown of the budget indicates an allocation of 967.5 billion naira for statutory transfers, 6.6 trillion naira for debt servicing, 8.3 trillion naira for recurrent expenditure, and 5.9 trillion naira for capital expenditure. The 2023 budget of 21.8 trillion naira maintained the recurrent expenditure at approximately 8.27 trillion naira, while capital expenditure increased from 5.35 trillion naira to 5.9 trillion naira. And debt servicing had increased from 6.31 trillion naira to 6.6 trillion naira. Some key capital allocations include 285 billion naira to the Federal Ministry of Defense, 134.9 billion naira to the Federal Ministry of Health, 195.5 billion naira to the Federal Ministry of Power, and 153.7 billion naira to the Federal Ministry of Education of Power, and 153.7 billion naira to the Federal Ministry of Education. Buhari has 3 days to sign the 2023 budget to maintain the January 4th to December 31st budget cycle, reintroduced by the 9th Assembly. The Senate has urged the Federal Bank of Nigeria (CBN) to extend its deadline for the phasing out of the old 1,000 naira, 500 naira, and 200 naira notes from January 31st to June 30th, 2023. The recommendation follows a motion by the senator representing Borno South Ali Ndume, raising the alarm over the January 31st deadline. According to him, the notice given by the CBN is too short, considering the few banks in Borno and Yobe states and the inability of people in these states to lodge the old notes in time to meet the deadline. The CBN Governor Gordon Mefele on October 26, 2022, announced the redesign of the 3 banknotes, saying the new and existing currencies will remain legal tender and circulate together until January 31st, 2023, last week. The World Bank expressed concern over the economic impact of the recent Naira redesign of Nigeria households and businesses. The global financial institution started that the timing and short transition period of the Nigerian Naira redesign may weigh on economic activity. A 34-year-old Nigerian Army deserter, Lance Corporal Nwangu Chiwendo, have been arrested at Amahahuru Nguru in Abo Mbais, local government area of Imo State, for alleged terrorism. According to CSP Michael Abatam, the police public relations officer in the state, Chiwendo, popularly known as Onye Army, was nabbed by operatives of the Imo State Police Command at his father's funeral on December 23 in his hometown in Abo Mbais, after a diligent gathering of both credible and technical intelligence. He added that the suspected vicious terrorist is a commander and member of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra IPOB and the military arm, Eastern Security Network, and has confessed to being behind the killing of 2 INEC staff at Ihite, Obama local government area of Imo State in April 2022. The suspect is also said to have spearheaded the operation that led to the killing of former presidential aide Ahmed Gulak in May 2021, as well as orchestrated the kidnap of 2 expatriates along Okigwe Road 2 weeks ago, and have been involved in high-level killings, kidnappings, and burning of INEC offices and government facilities across the state. The suspect became the operational commander and chief trainer of the military arm of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra Eastern Security Network, where he claimed to have trained over 1,000 members in weaponry and terror attack in their camp located in Ubogtoku, a forest in Obowo local government area of the state. Items recovered from the suspect include 5 pump-action guns, 2 cut-to-size double-barrel guns, 4 locally made pistols, 50 rounds of live cartridges, 9 locally made hand grenades, ESN, regalia, and various charms and rings. Governor Charles Soludo of Anambra State has again offered amnesty to gunmen terrorizing residents of the state. Mr. Soludo announced these on Wednesday during a press briefing in Akwai, Anambra State. Like other states in the southeast, Anambra has witnessed increased attacks by gunmen lately. A lawmaker earlier in the year was killed and then beheaded by gunmen in the state. 2 former lawmakers have been abducted and then killed by gunmen said to be part of Biafra agitation in the southeast. Office buildings of some local government councils in the state have been attacked by hoodlums in recent times. Aside from government facilities, several residents have been killed and others abducted in renewed attacks by the gunmen in the state. Mr. Soludo and his administration was still open to offering amnesty to the gunmen to drop their rifles and be trained to be productive. The governor said it is disturbing that young people were wasting their lives in criminalities and assured that his government was ready to offer a new future to any of them prepared to drop their weapons. This is the second time Mr. Soludo will offer amnesty to gunmen in the state. The governor first made the offer in July after arresting the detained leader of the outlawed indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, at the facility of the State Security Service, SSS, in Abuja. The governor of the Imo State, Hope Uzodinma, on Wednesday announced the death of the President General of Ohanaeze Ndigbo, Professor George Obiaso. The governor made the announcement in a statement he signed. He described the deceased as an intellectual whose contributions and wise counsel on national and global issues will be greatly missed. Speaker of Osun State House of Assembly, Mr. Timothy Owoeye, on Wednesday said the state law empowers governors, their deputies, and some top public officials to go with their official vehicles when they retire from office. Owoeye made this known during plenary while reacting to call made by Governor Ademola Adeleke, asking the former Governor Boyega Oyetola, his deputy, cabinet members, and some public office holders reserved under the previous administration to return their official vehicles in their custody. The Speaker said, according to the State Public Office Holders' Payment of Pension and Severance Packages Bill 2018, signed into law in 2019, the former governor is empowered to go away with his official vehicles. And on the foreign scene, fighting in Ukraine is currently at a deadlock as neither Ukraine nor Russia can make significant advance. The head of the Ukrainian Military Intelligence Agency has said, while Kiev waits for more advanced weapons from Western allies, the situation is just stuck, Krylov Bunadov told the BBC in an interview. After Ukrainian troops recaptured the southern city of Kherson in November, most of the fire-cast battles have been around Bakhmut in the eastern Donetsk region. Elsewhere, Russian forces appear to be on the defensive while winter has slowed down the pace of Ukraine's ground operations across the 1,000-kilometer front line. Mr. Bunadov said Russia was now completely at a dead end, suffering very significant losses, and as believed the Kremlin had decided to announce another mobilization of conscripts. But he added Ukrainian forces will lack resources to move forward in multiple areas. Earlier this month, after a series of Russian military setbacks, Ukrainian officials warned about the possibility of another ground offensive by Moscow's forces from Belarus at the start of 2023. The push, they said, could include a second attempt to seize the capital, Kiev, and involve tens of thousands of reservists being trained in Russia. And in sports, Erling Haaland struck twice on his return to Leeds to become the fastest ever player to reach 20 Premier League goals as Manchester City moved back up to second and narrowed the gap in leaders Arsenal to 5 points with a dominant 3-1 win at Elland Road. The Premier League's top scorer has hit the 20-goal landmark in just 14 games since joining from Borussia Dortmund in the summer. That's 7 games quicker than previous record holder Kevin Phillips, who needed 20-1 leads, boss Jesse Marsch and coach Haaland at RB Salzburg earlier in his career, but like so many Premier League managers this season, could not find no way to keep the prolific frontman at bay. That's 26 strikes in total now for Haaland across all competition and City colours. With this story, we've come to the end of our bulletin for today. You can follow us on our social media handles at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Unity Radio FM TV, respectively. My name is Ruqayyat Sani Ibrahim. Thank you for watching and enjoy the rest of our programs.